This is your long lost friend, Suzanne Light. Happy Valentine's Day. Can we say adorable? Now, I had some pink ones that were hearts hanging down, but I have not worn these. And I thought, well, the pink and the red goes really good together. But these have been so popular. And I've had numerous people to send me pictures today that they've got these on today. Aren't they cute? Paparazzi, $5 boutique quality jewelry. Several of you have asked me that you don't have Facebook and you don't want to get Facebook. And you've asked me, will I start coming on YouTube and doing some lives? So I'm going to do that. And those of you who's like, don't make your channel a jewelry channel, I won't. And what I'll do, I'll just put an occasional, once a week, once every other week thing on there. And what you can do, where we go through Messenger in order or leave comments on Facebook, you can just send me an email. We'll communicate by email. But several of you have said, well, tons of you are buying it from me on Facebook, and I appreciate that so much. My YouTubers have been tremendous because they're loving the jewelry. And but several of you have written me. Let me go in by Mama's house. Let me look up there. I have to always, when I'm going in this direction, I have to come by and look at it. We'll talk about that more. I have tried so hard to sit down. Well, let me finish that other statement. So I am going to come on YouTube and do some, because I have so many subscribers, and several, I probably have had 8 to 10 people to say, please come on YouTube and share your jewelry, because I don't want to do Facebook. I'm not comfortable. You can set up a Facebook account, a private one, just for the jewelry, and not even let anybody know that you're on Facebook. You can even do it under a another name if you just don't want people to know that you're on there, and you could just let me know who you are, you know, since you're one of my, I'd have to have a real name to send orders, but you could do that. But I'm also going to try to get the time to come on YouTube and do it too. Okay. The purpose of this video, I'm going to try it and see if I can do it. I've got to go pick the boys up. I've got about a 25 minute drive. I've got their Valentine baskets over here. I'm taking them to eat. And then we are leaving tomorrow evening to go to Gatlinburg with our family. And I'm so excited to spend quality time with my girl, my son-in-law, his parents, Ashley's sister-in-law and Michael's brother, and then my boys. And so I need it. I have tried to sit down so many times and talk to you about my mom's last days. Today is Valentine's. John doesn't get me flowers. I don't require flowers, and sometimes I don't even like them, but I got in there today and I had a beautiful arrangement of sunflowers and roses and some other beautiful flowers, and that's what we put in Mother's casket spread. She loved sunflowers. When Dana was divorced, he lived up beside her in a trailer, and they had a garden that year, and they planted huge sunflowers that were just gorgeous. And so we covered her casket with sunflowers and other flowers. I've tried so hard to sit down and talk to y'all, and I've just not been there. And y'all are like, take your time, but I really want to get back to my channel. I really want to get back to Revelation, which my goal is, we'll come back home Monday, and my goal is to dedicate next week to sitting down, because I want to go over the last couple of lessons so I'll know exactly. I was only going to take a couple of weeks break for Christmas, and then Mother got sick. But today is Valentine's, and there has not been a year, I can't even remember, of not being a year that I don't go in the door with a big box of chocolates for her. And we open them, and we eat it. And we talk and we laugh, and I always get her a really sweet card because she's been the greatest mother ever, the greatest example of a righteous living woman that I've ever known. Now, there are other women in my church, but I don't know them personally like I know the righteous living that my mother did.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just to your mother.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
my.
I tried to introduce you.
You did.
Oh,
You did.
that is so sweet.
You want me to read it to you? Woo, woo, woo. Sweets for the sweets.
And so I've got enough stuff in there for me to make dinner.
Yeah.
I'm a lucky old witch.
Yeah, you are a lucky old witch.
You know,
A lucky old witch.
but you know what I think? I think we earn what we get.
Yeah, we do. We do.
Okay. So that is so pretty. And I thought it was Mother's Day.
What is it,
Well,
Mother's
put up a
Day?
sign for me. How would you like to
Hush.
sit here with a barking down?
You are selfish. You are selfish. You think all attention. I've done giving you 2 snacks. She wants 11.
My mother, as you have seen from the old pictures, was a looker. She was a looker. And my daddy wasn't good to her for a lot of their marriage. And even after he got saved, he loved her. He did love her. He put her up on a pedestal, but he wasn't always good. But anyway, but he did love her. I did see that love. He didn't treat her with respect and love for many years, but I know deep down inside he loved her. And my mother, because of the things that she went through, could have made a lot of different decisions that she chose not to make in her life. I remember when I was going through such a rough patch in my marriage. I stayed 2 years after I found out about the infidelity, and they were not real good years. And I'd lost a lot of weight, and I was 39, 40 years old, and I think that's some of the prettiest time for a woman. I just think your confidence is built up, and I just think it's a pretty time for a woman. And there were times that people really came on to me, and I was in such a silent battle that nobody knew about. Everybody thought we'd put our marriage back together and everything was good, but it wasn't good. It wasn't. The last year, it was horrible. And there was a lot of temptation out there, and I'd say, Lord, please don't let me give in to temptation, because I'm not being loved at home, but don't let me fall. And I would look to my mother and know that she went through so much. And in my mind, I would be like, I don't want to disappoint my mother, and I don't want to disappoint Ashley. I want to be a righteous mother before Ashley, like my mother was. And that kept me out of a lot of trouble. Not that I was always perfect, not that I did everything just right, but I'm telling you, those 2 things. Now, my commitment to Christ, yes, was strong. But in that particular situation, those 2 women had such an influence on me, and I wanted to be that influence to Ashley. So how did my mom go down so fast? For several months, you know that I would leave there upset and knowing that she was changing so much. We had her on dementia medicine for about 7 years. And my pharmacist, who is also my next door neighbor, told me, said, Suzanne, it will not stop the dementia, but it will certainly slow it down. And it did. And I'm so thankful. And of course, through the years, we could tell that she had some dementia. But my brother was killed January 3 years ago. This past January was 3 years, and we really saw the decline. She'd already lost a husband. She'd already lost a daughter. And my brother, it was during January 21 when COVID was still somewhat going, and they did not have a funeral. They did not have a memorial. They didn't do nothing for him. And my mother never had any closure from that at all. And I could really tell a difference from the time he died on, me and Dana both. This past year, her stories that she had always told were getting all jumbled up. She would tell stories over and over and over. And, you know, a lot of that could be that she was, you know, 94, 95, 96. So we didn't chalk all of that up to dementia, but we did definitely start seeing a difference in her. And there were times I would film her in the car that I would take out whole sections because it didn't make any sense, or she would say something that was just totally off the wall, and then she would just come right back. Y'all saw. I still have not loaded the very last video, and I'm going to let y'all know when it was and how good she still was. And there's probably things in it that I'll have to take out as well. But 2 weeks prior to her death, Jessica came down with the flu. And Jessica went over there on Sunday morning to fix her breakfast, and then that evening she started feeling really bad. She would have never gone had she suspected that she was sick, because Jessica has lost her best friend. My Maw and Jessica were so tight. It was a God relationship. We have praised her, and I will love her forever for what she did for my mama. I could not be with my mother every day, every hour. But it was a job, and Jessica wasn't either. But Jessica went over 3 times a day. She only lived 2 miles from her. And that way, I got to go and visit. I took her to all the doctor's visits. But Jessica did her groceries. She did light cleaning. I still paid all the bills. So we just split it up. But it was a job for Jessica. But much more than being a job, it was a love, commitment relationship that really was good for Jessica and good for Mother. And Mother's left this world knowing that she was loved dearly and she was taken care of dearly. So really, I had done all that for over 5 years, being retired, because she didn't drive for the last 8.5 years. So I was buying all the groceries. I was doing all that. And with my autoimmune issues, it was hard on me. So when Jessica lost her job during COVID, Mother had lived so frugally. Now you got to remember, my dad's been gone 40 years. Any insurance money is long gone. But my mother had been so frugal and so content, didn't need a whole lot. Yarn, crossword puzzle books, word search. So she had built up a little nest egg. And when I look and I just see how God worked everything out so beautifully, His hand was in everything that went on. Because of that little nest egg, I was able to hire Jessica at the rate of pay that she was making at a daycare to take care of our mother. And then as Mother got a little worse, Mother was still fixing her breakfast, fixing her coffee, and there came a time this past year that Mother forgot how to use the coffee maker, the Keurig. She forgot how to use the microwave. She forgot how to use everything. And so I then extended Saturday and Sunday onto Jessica, with Saturday mornings for her. And then if I was gone, she would go back on Sunday evening, Saturday or Sunday evenings. But most of the time, I did Saturday and Sunday evenings as far as her medication. And Sunday evenings was my time with her. I went and spent Sunday evenings, and she'd go to sleep lots of times. And she'd say, babe, you know, you can just see her laying on that little plaid couch. And she'd be, babe, I'm sorry, I'm going to sleep. And I said, Mama, it's okay. I just want to be with you. And I would. I mean, it was just a comfort to me to be with her. And she'd doze off, and then she'd wake back up, and then she'd sit up, and then her and the puppy would lay down. And by the way, girlfriend is fine. She is with a nephew, and she is doing great. So some of you have said, please talk John into letting you keep her, because I did want to keep her at first, but she is fine. So that's an answer to prayer. So Anyway, so Jessica would do Saturday and Sundays, just as far as medicine, if I wasn't there. So, the last 6 months, at Christmas, she was rattled. She had gotten where if she had not seen people in a while, she didn't know them. She didn't know a lot of the grandchildren, but they never knew it. But after Ashley and them picked her up, and something told me, make family pictures, this is going to be her last. Now, to go back, Dana and I had been praying for months. We agreed together. We prayed one night over the telephone, and then we agreed together to pray for God's mercy, to pray for her never to live in a world where everyone was a stranger. And my mother had a phobia about the nursing home. She had done training there years and years and years ago, and she just knew that she didn't ever want to be there. So I had promised her, Mother, we will never take you to a nursing home unless I medically cannot take care of you. We have an extra bedroom on the first floor with us. I was ready to put her in there. It had a bathroom right across the hallway. We had put a TV in there. It had a bed. I was ready for her and girlfriend to come to my house. But as you know, even when there were storms, she wouldn't even come to my house. She loved her house. And I know this video is going to be too long. She loved her house. That was her safety point. She didn't want to go anywhere. The older she got, the more dogmatic she was. That was her home. I don't want to leave. And we would be sitting there. Sometimes she'd say, isn't my house pretty? And I'd say, Mama, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And so Dana and I had been praying for months. Lord, have mercy on her. Please don't let her live long enough that we are in the condition that we have to put her in a nursing home. We would rather you take her in a sound mind than for her to live longer and not be in a sound mind and not know us. The last 2 weeks of her life, just one day she forgot that I was Suzanne. And I was already staying with her. I stayed with her the last 2 weeks of her life because Jessica, well, really 3 weeks, but I had her for 2 weeks. And at that point, I would just go over during the day, stay several hours, go back home, then come back in the evening to give her her medicine. And she was still staying by herself at night. So I was going to have these dates down for y'all, but I don't at this point. But Christmas, I had every group of children that were there and grandchildren that were there to have family pictures made with her. I felt in my heart that it was her last Christmas with us. I really did. I had been sensing that. And I'd never dreamed that it would be less than 3 weeks after Christmas. Never, never, never dreamed. But we made the most beautiful pictures. And I'll put, you've seen them in the slideshow. She was in her little red shirt. Ashley and Michael went by and got her, and she had so much fun. And she would always get tired out. She looked at my nephew, my oldest nephew's wife, during Christmas and said, "Who are you?" And she said, "Well, Mama, I'm Lori." And she said, "No, but I know you from somewhere." It was kind of an awkward situation. But that was really the only awkward thing that happened. She loved on everybody. Everybody loved on her. But then when Dana took her home, or I think Dana went up there the next day, she said, he said, "Mama, did you know everybody at Christmas yesterday?" And she said, "No." She said, "Who were all those people?" She said, they'd get up in my face and go, "Yeah, yeah, 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 yeah," and hug on me. And she said, "I didn't even know who they were." So we just had a dying laugh fit about that. And she didn't. But she knew she was with all of us. But so one of those days, and I can't remember the exact time, that I was with her, she said, "Now, what's your name?" And I said, "Well, Mama, I'm Suzanne." And she said, "Suzanne?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "I have a daughter named Suzanne." looked at her and I said, well, Mama, I am your daughter. She went, no. And I said, well, who am I? And she said, I don't know, but I sure do love you. And I said, no, I'm Suzanne. And so I just dropped it because I could see she was disturbed by that. And so I got in the car and I fell all to pieces. I was hysterical. Lord, my mama don't know me. But she loves me, but she don't know me. And so my next door neighbor, who we've been friends with forever, was in bad shape too. She's had colon cancer. And they were actually bringing her home from the hospital. And when I went down the driveway, I am squalling. And they stopped, and their daughters, I raised their daughters practically. And they came to the car, and I said, Mama don't know me. And then their mother got out of the car, and she's like, baby, she wouldn't want this. She wouldn't want you to be upset. She's 86. She was like a second mother to me. And so I said, I'm okay, Joyce. I'm okay. I wanted to quit crying for her, but my heart was broken. But you know, something that night happened. The Lord really spoke to me and said, does it really matter? She's good with you. She's just confused about your name. Some of you even said it may be because you look so different all of a sudden. And it's dawned on her how different you look from losing 75 pounds. Others of you said, do you think she is now remembering her children as younger? And I really think that's what it was. I really think that's what it was. I think all of a sudden in her mind, her children should have been younger. But the Lord ministered to me that night, and I said, you know what? That's my mama. And I love her, and she loves me, and she knows I'm taking care of her. And it doesn't matter. So I just played along with her, and I'd ask her sometimes, you know, and I got a video of her, I think the next day, and I'm sitting at the table, and I said, Mama, and she never questioned that I called her Mama, because that's all I ever called her, besides Mary Faye, put on your seatbelt. One of y'all said that, and I thought that was so funny. Mary Faye, put on your seatbelt. Wouldn't that be a cute t-shirt of me and Mother? Mary Faye, put on your seatbelt. Y'all might want a t-shirt if I designed that, because nobody's going to forget Maw Maw Luv on here. I told her that my views were going to go down. And I'm going to read you her eulogy, which I won't be able to today. I'm going to go somewhere and park because I got about 15 minutes before I pick up the boys. And if I don't finish this right now, I promise you I will. But I was sitting at the kitchen table with her one day, and I said, Mama, do you really not know that I'm your daughter? She was eating, and she said, just to see her, she said, no, I really don't. And I said, you don't remember me living here at this house with you? And she said, no, nobody ever told me that. And I said, well, I did. And that's okay, because you know what's happened? And she said, what? And I said, that little part of your brain is just tired. And if you don't remember that, that's okay, because do you know that I love you? And she said, well, yeah. It's like she knew me, but that she didn't know me. Because I said, do you know how much I love you? Well, yeah. So there was never a question to her that I loved her and that we were close. And so one day, okay, on a Thursday, I took her to the ear doctor. I started recording her that day. Okay, yes, that's right. And she just was not good. And so I just said, I'm not going to record her. This is not right. And so I just turned it off, and she never knew the difference. And so when we're going down the road, she looked at me, she said, now where did you go to school? And I told her the two schools I went to. She said, well, that's where my kids went. She said, did you know them? And I said, well, I might have known them. I'm not sure. So right at that moment, but now I'm taking her to the doctor, and she's asking me, did I know her kids? So she just knew that I was part of her family or something. So, but I just laughed because it was funny, you know. Let me look here. And so she said, well, that's where my kids went to. And so I took her to the ear doctor that day. She told the receptionist I was her granddaughter. I guess she thought I was. So they had to dig out a bunch of wax out of her ear. We had to have that done every so often. She was like a wax machine. It was just crazy how much wax. And she just wasn't hearing good. And so I would take her and get the wax out. She was talking kind of crazy. On the way back, I just held my phone over to the side, and I've got some footage of her talking when it was real. It was just messed up. So, but I took her to Dairy Queen. There's a school bus letting out a bunch of kids. I took her to Dairy Queen. She loved a Blizzard. And I took her to Dairy Queen, got her a Blizzard and French fries. And honey, she tore that up. She loved French fries anytime. On that video that I'm holding, you can see her, you know, eating that. And so that's precious to me. And so, but anyway, that seemed to be a little bit of a rough day. And I was worried about her because she had introduced me as her granddaughter and different things. And so we got home and she just was so tired. And I said, Mama, do you want me to spend the night with you tonight? And she's like, well, no, you just going home. Something just kind of made me feel like I needed to. It was the prompting of the Holy Spirit. But then she was just like, I'm fine. I'm fine. You go home, get some rest. Because me and her both were tired after we'd go to the doctor and do stuff like that. And we would exert a lot of energy with each other because we'd laugh and cut up so much. And so I went on home. Well, the next morning, Jessica, that's the week Jessica was sick. I believe it was the first week. So John said he'd go over and fix her breakfast. She loved for John to come fix her breakfast because he'd sit and drink coffee with her. Well, when he got there, she would always open the door for him. And he got there and he knocked and knocked and knocked, and she never came to the door. And he thought, okay, something's happened to her. He thought she had passed away. And I had told him I'd been worried about her the night before. And so, or the day before. And so he did not call me. He called my brother. And Dana came over with his keys and unlocked the door. And they went in there and she was in the bedroom floor at the end of her bed. And she had taken the dog's bed and turned it over for a pillow, had covered up like with a napkin, and she had just wept all over herself. She had laid there all night. And Dana's like, Mother, Mother. And she woke up and he said, Mother, what are you doing here on this floor? She said, I'm waiting on you, Big Ape, to come. I'll not put the exact words, but she loved to call him Big Ape. I'm waiting on you, Big Ape, to come get me out of this floor. But she had not fallen. She didn't really know. When they came in, she realized she was on the floor at the end of the bed. And so she didn't know why. Ashley thinks she may have had a mini stroke. There was no, but she was very disoriented. Of course, when they saw she was alive, she was a mess. Her gown was soaking wet. And they just wrapped a blanket around her and took her into the living room and called me. And John said, come over. He said, your mother's okay, but she's had a bad night. She needs a shower immediately. So I jumped up, flew over there, and she was still a little confused, but talking, cutting up like Faye Reed did. So anyway, I got her in the shower, got her cleaned up, got her a good warm gown on, took her to the couch and wrapped her up. And of course, we were very disturbed. And I said, she's not going to be by herself anymore. Well, when they got her up out of the floor, she was congested. And so that house is older and it's drafty. Of course, it's drafty in the floor. It's real warm, great heating system. But we thought, okay, she's caught a cold. That was on a Friday. I took her to the ear doctor on Thursday, and that was on Friday. And we'll sit here and maybe until somebody pulls up. I know the sun's awful. So I stayed with her on Friday night. She went on to bed, and I slept in the recliner. She slept 13 and a half hours. And she was on her left hip, and she never moved. She was on her left side, and I got up every hour and a half to every 2 hours. I didn't sleep to go check on her just to make sure she was breathing and everything, and she was. So the next day she got up. I stayed with her all day. On Saturday, Dana came over, John came over, different ones. Now Jessica's still got the flu. She's very, very congested now, very deep. But y'all, there was so much flu going on that the after hours that was close to us didn't even have a parking place because there were so many people with the flu and COVID. And I told Dana, I said, I'm not taking her down there unless they can take her straight back. But I don't feel good about it. I think we need to start her on some Mucinex and see if it helps. Well, we did, and it didn't really help that much. So the next day being, I stayed with her again that night. The next day being Sunday, we called her doctor, told them what happened, and they suggested we get her to the emergency room because she had been exposed to the flu. But when I took her to the ear doctor on Thursday, we don't know what she was exposed to either, but there wasn't many people there. But anyway, I'm not going to have time to finish this right now. I am going to come and finish it back up. I just want it to be worthy of sharing everything with y'all. It is just a few minutes before I pick up the boys, and I don't want to rush this. I want y'all to know, because you love her so much, I want y'all to know the details of everything, okay? I know you'd rather it all be in one thing, but I'm gonna stop right here, and when I come back, I'm gonna pick up with the emergency room and tell you about that and her being put into the hospital. But thank y'all so much for loving my mother. Your comments, I have read every one of them. I have not commented back. I've hearted some, I've not others. Your cards have been amazing, and I'm sure there's more cards there now. You have written stuff that has simply touched my heart like you will never believe. And when I come back, I'll finish it at home, and when I come back, I'll read the eulogy that I did, because I want y'all to hear that. The Lord gave me such strength to hold up during my mother's funeral, and really I've had incredible strength, because every time I get upset, and I've been upset today because we should be eating chocolates together today, but y'all, I got to do it for years. But this is what brings me back. This is what brings my focus back every time. How blessed are you, young lady, that you had your mama for 96 years? How blessed are you? I am blessed. I can't cry because I'm fixing to get the boys. I am blessed. I am blessed. And I'll eat heavenly chocolate with her one day. How about that? I'll eat heavenly chocolate with her one day. But I just want you to know that none of your comments, I got a comment from South Africa. And I know I got one from Croatia. My friend from Croatia made a comment. How 165 people signed the book at her funeral. And we had it on a 9 o'clock on a Friday morning. Or, I'm sorry, 11 o'clock. We had visitation at 9:30 to 11, which is not a convenient time. So many people couldn't be there. A lot of people in our church were still sick. But she would say, what is 165 people doing over here to see this old woman? So y'all's comments, listen, have meant the world to me. I'm going to stop this. It's at 35 minutes, but I promise you part 2 will be coming very soon. I love y'all. Get my boys happy Valentine's.